Hello everyone and welcome to another YouTube video. I'm the Pokelution and today I'm going to show you a post-narrated Showdown battle. The team I'm going to be using you can see on screen right now. Usually I would make this layout, but showing you the actual teams with the EVs and the movesets, in my opinion, will be a lot more useful. So this is a fairly odd team. I'm not going to be using this a lot because I'm fairly high up the OU ladder right now and I only face good people, and this team is not really that good, to be honest. I'm using a standard Trevenant set. This is my favorite set with Hornleech, Rock Slide, because a lot of Talonflames like to switch in on Trevenant and then I just obliterate them with Rock Slide. This really works. This really does work. The rest of the set is Lumberry, Harvest, and Rest, because this thing basically won't die. Running max defense, max HP, and the four remaining EVs I'm running in attack. Next one is a Azumarill, and this is a special Azumarill. This is a thick fat because I cannot run Zap Zipper. For whatever reason, it denies me with the ability with Parry Song combination or something. But it doesn't allow it. But it's Parry Song, Whirlpool, Protect, Knockoff. I think I might be still using Waterfall in the video. Max Special Defense, Max HP. The only thing Azumarill does is basically claim 1 kill every match, and it doesn't even work every single match. What it tries to do is just get off Parry Song. People do not fear Parry Song for the first like 1 or 2 turns, and then you just Whirlpool them. So they cannot switch, they get trapped in a vortex and they cannot switch. Then you protect and then you can switch into a decent counter. So that's what Azumarill does, and that's about it, because usually it dies after that. So I have a lead Bisharp, which is Focus Sash, Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Iron Head, and Sucker Punch. Max attack, max speed, Adamant Nature. This thing can put a whole lot of dents into teams. Often I preserve it and don't use it at the start. And this set really is decent. Well, it's not really as good as an SD set with Sucker Punch, but it does decent work. So next one is Expert Belt Infernape. This is a mix set. Max special attack, max speeds with Overheat, Hidden Power Ice, Close Combat, and Earthquake. I used to have U-turn over Earthquake, but then I noticed that Close Combat does not one-shot a Heatran. So I threw Earthquake on there just to kill Heatran in one single blow. Fifth guy is Sylveon, which is a Choice Specs Pixelated Sylveon with Hyper Voice, Hidden Power Fire, Psyshock, and Shadow Ball. Usually people switch in Scissor on this, and if it hasn't Mega Evolved yet, well, it's going to be a one-shot with Hidden Power Fire. With the specs and with the Modest Nature, this thing can do big damage to teams. Even Hyper Voice, Pixelated Hyper Voice is also really good, because not a lot of typings resist the Fairy. And it's obviously a sound move, so it goes through substitutes, which also helps me out a lot. Last one is Tyranitar. I've actually made a new team where I have actually put Garchomp. The exact same team, only I've put Garchomp instead of T-Tar, but for this game I am going to be using Tyranitar. So it would be this team, T-Tar. Max HP, Max Attack, Assault Vest, Sandstream, Dual Stab, and Ice Beam and Fire Blast. Ice Beam is for Gliscors, Fire Blast, Ice Beam is for Gliscor and Landorus Therian, and Fire Blast is mainly for Ferrothorns. So without further ado, this was a really long team analysis. I am going to jump into this game. I'm going to lead off with Bisharp as he leads with Espeon, because this is my lead Bisharp, but I just decided to go for knockoff to knock anything's item off. I didn't expect him to stay in, but this is just a setup Espeon, but I do decide to go for another knockoff, predicting him to switch out or just leave it in as Death Fodder. I didn't want to Sucker Punch there, but now on the incoming Kyurem, and I don't want to fall asleep, so I decide to switch, and I switch in Sylveon, which was the poorest play of this game, because it gets completely two-shotted. Now I switch to T-Tar because I predict this thing to be banded after seeing that damage, and I just go for a safe crunch. which raises the Keldeo's attack, but that really doesn't matter because all Keldeos are specially based. Now I send in a Azumarill because I resist both of its stabs, and this is a perish trapping one, so I have nothing really to fear. But I do go for the perish sound, but I think he knows what kind of set I am because he doesn't fall for it. Because now I go for the Whirlpool, but he does send in his Kyurem Black, which is going to get trapped. And now I just want to get residual damage off on this thing because I do not have a real check for Kyurem. And he can now spam dragon moves as he wants to because Sylveon is dead. Well, Azumarill is weak to Fusion Bolt, so I don't want to switch in Azumarill. I know it's part fairy. But now I am forced to switch. I know that this thing is banded now, seeing the damage on my Sylveon. Because it was max HP, I know now that this thing is definitely banded. Now I predict to switch into Darmanitan and I go for the Rock Slide, but that really doesn't work out. Well, I hit the Heatran for 20%, that's not really too bad. Now I switch back into Azumarill because I am specially defensive. And if this thing gets burned, it doesn't really matter because this thing is only meant for perish trapping. So now I decide to go for Waterfall, which was a misplay. Because I should have gone for Whirlpool first to trap something and then gone for a perish sound. But I decided to go for Protected to just to see what he wants to lock himself into. And seeing that he does lock himself into, I don't have a switch for that. So I just decided to go for Whirlpool. I get a crit, which really doesn't matter. Now I just Protect again to get off more residual damage. But I have to stay in because I do not have his proper switch. Perhaps Infernape, but this thing being banded and having 170 base power, even Infernape doesn't want to switch in on this. Try and go for the double protect, which is really cheesy, but it really doesn't matter because now I can send in Infernape to revenge kill. Knowing that this thing is banded and Infernape is max speed jolly, I can definitely outspeed this thing. And I can also outspeed this Keldeo, which you can see right now. So now I'm actually looking pretty good. Infernape is in the driver's seat, but he switches in Darmanitan, and I close comment again. Well, I thought this thing was Scarfed, so I basically left in Infernape as Death Fodder, but fortunately for me, he does go for the U-turn, which also reveals to me that Darmanitan is not Scarfed, and so he might be Sheer Force Life Orb or Choice Bandit. Not really sure. Didn't see that this entire game, but now he's sensing Kyurem as Death Fodder, and now wait, I have this game in the bag because I outspeed Darmanitan, but then his Heatran appears to be Scarfed, and he Earth Powers me. But fortunately, I do have Bisharp, and his Sash is still intact. I can go for Knockoff, which is not going to kill, but Knockoff in combination with the Sucker Punch is going to kill the Heatran, knowing that this Heatran is Scarfed. He only has attacking moves, and he doesn't want to switch in his Cloyster or Darmanitan on a Knockoff. I predicted this Cloyster to be Shell Smash, so I went for an Iron Head or a Knockoff and over the Sucker Punch. But now I go into Trevenant, still predicting him to actually set up Shell Smash. I go for a Will-O-Wisp, but he predicts that. And now he over-predicts by U-turning on my Trevenant, which I left in for Death Fodder because I basically gave up this game already. But I decided to go for a Rock Slide on it. And so he makes a misplay and goes for the Ice Shard. I think like most of his team is banded in Specs, and his only utility Pokemon is Espeon. But he makes a misplay by locking himself into the Ice Shard. Now I actually over predict and predict the Darmanitan switch, but it really doesn't matter. But now Darmanitan cannot lock himself into Superpower, which I assume he does have, but seeing that he does go for the Earthquake, I assume he is banded, and T-Tar manages to live that with 2%. So I really hope you all enjoyed this game. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, and all the links will be in the description. Peace out.